And we begin in Mcen, where our reporter Patrick Amimo is on standby. Good afternoon, Amimo.
Good afternoon, Ian.
Could you tell us what is the general mood in regards to Mcen County dissolution?
Indeed, in Wose Town in Mcen County, where the county governor, Professor Dedan Kimathi, has convened what he calls a people's assembly, the first to be held in Mcen so far. This particular rally, the governor wants to see if he can to get an endorsement from the people on whether they should go ahead and start collecting signatures to dissolve the county assembly and save elections in the next maybe 90 days. And already governor has members of people from this county have gathered for this particular political rally that has been convened by the governor. You know, the governor has been having wrangles with his members of the county assembly, who in fact yesterday did move a motion to have essential motion, a motion to impeach him, which will be discussed next Tuesday. And it's today that the governor has decided to have this rally to seek people's opinion on how he can go about addressing wrangles in his county. We know the NPAs and also indeed 4 members of the county executive, but given yesterday's High Court order, which gave a reprieve stopping any kind of impeachment from the assembly's countrywide, I think that the action will not go on. But so from the look of things, the police have deployed heavily to ensure that this particular meeting goes on smoothly, not disrupted either by the NPAs. So there is also a heavy security presence here. The police are ready to see any eventuality. And also one other thing which the governor will do will be to launch some lorries and tractors for the that will be used to carry infrastructure projects in the county. Yes.
No, thank you very much, Amimo. We shall follow that story in our subsequent bulletins. Now, let us move on elsewhere. Deputy President William Ruto has challenged African nations to develop business synergies to grow continent's economy, addressing Africa diplomats based in Geneva, Switzerland. The Deputy President encouraged enhancement of trade between African nations, but stressed the need of infrastructure development to ease the business networking. Ruto says the continent needs to break border barriers by creating transport links within countries to ensure a smooth intra-trade in Africa, cognizant of Africa's appetite to export to products to Europe, Asia. The Deputy President says Africa nations are struggling to access overseas market, yet with good networks, the markets are available within the African continent. The Deputy President has challenged the diplomats to present the continent well and rewrite the Africa story as a story of growth and hope from the Western perception of the continent struggling to get up on its feet.
That it is time that Africa will not be defined by war or disease or poverty. That we need a new narrative. Africa is a continent with the fastest growing economy in the world. Africa is home to the youngest, energetic, dynamic population in the world. That 7 out of the 10 fastest growing economies in the world are in Africa. And that Africa is the continent with the highest return on investment today anywhere in the world. I was even given a new statistic that in fact, by 2050, the economy of Africa will be $30 trillion higher than the economies of Europe and America combined. That is the continent that we belong to. That is the continent that you represent. And unless you begin this new narrative so that Africa can be seen for what truly it is, you could end up with the old narrative.
Elsewhere, members of parliament and other political leaders have today visited the Netherlands embassy in Nairobi to apply for visas in order to travel to The Hague following the hearing of the 2007-2008 post-election violence case where President Uhuru Kenyatta is charged with crimes against humanity. Some of the MPs who were at the Dutch embassy as from 8:30 a.m. include Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria, his Kajiado South counterpart Joseph Nkaiseri, who is from the ODM party, among others. About 120 MPs are expected to travel with President Uhuru Kenyatta next week for the hearing that is scheduled for the 7th and the 8th of October this year.
I'm a MP and I'm going to The Hague on my personal resources just to be in solidarity with the President of the Republic of Kenya. Not only President Uhuru Kenyatta is a President of the Republic of Kenya, but he is also my personal friend.
The most important thing is that Bensouda and the court were banking on the president to fail to travel. So shame on them. And if they want to jail him, they can jail all the 150 of us. I've just checked from this embassy, and at the time I was getting my visa, I was number 94.
Wata na sisi tunawajibika because Uhuru is not just a friend, but is a president of this country. So tunawajibika kusimama pamoja na yeye.
Elsewhere in Elgeyo Marakwet County has unveiled a 60-bed capacity unit at Iten Referral Hospital in a bid to improve provisions of health service in the region. The move is also aimed at decongesting the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Eldoret, which currently serves the entire North Rift region and the western parts of the country. The new wards will complement the acquisition of the modern medical equipment, laboratory supplies, theatre equipment, incubators, delivery beds, mattresses, bed sheets and laundry machines in an attempt to ensure there is ease of access to medical services. The area governor Alex Tolgo said he was concerned about the high number of local residents who rush to Eldoret in search of health services when the same could be offered within his county.
Should be able to accommodate people from this county and also from other counties. And we are also saying that soon we are going to open our ICU in this hospital because we want to reduce as much as possible the number of patients being referred to MTRH and other hospitals.
Following a demonstration by students of Dedan Kimathi University of Technology yesterday, the university has sent its students home this morning with a notice requiring them to vacate the university's premises before noon. Yesterday, the students held a peaceful demonstration on protesting against a delay of higher education loans board money, vowing to stay put until such a time when the money will be put into their respective accounts. A notice from the university administration further said communication on the students following the indefinite closure will be made later. Anti-riot police officers were stationed at the university to prevent any cases of chaos.
Hey, mambo? Yeah.
More than 300 members of Twiga Farm, one of the controversial Mboi Committee farms, petitioned the Cabinet Secretary for Lands Charity Ngilu over the delayed justice after they were evicted 4 years down the line. The evicts were led by Coordinator Land Accord Francis Kimanzi. He said the evicts were waited for long since the then County Council of Ruiru demolished their building and destroyed their crops without prior notice to evict them over the 300-acre, that is 1,000-acre controversial piece of land they claim was given to them during the colonial days as they pay after their hard work.
Na wewe unakuja na gari na unasema shamba ni yenyu namna gani?
Na maombi yetu kwa bunge la kitaifa ni kwamba waangalie ni nani mwenye Twiga Farm.
And still on matters land, victims of historical land injustices, including former freedom fighters, have accused the Kenyan judiciary of laxity in addressing critical land disputes, some dating back to the colonial period. The victims, who were speaking during a consultative meeting with the National Lands Commission, accuse the courts of inactivity, especially where the suspected grabbers are government officials or well-connected individuals. The church also came under fire for being in possession of vast tracts of land, some of them allegedly grabbed by missionaries during the colonial period.
But we also have individual families that were affected. Maybe their ancestral land was taken away many years during the colonial period. And there are claims that have been passed from one generation to another.
At the moment, it will be difficult to determine how we will remedy those issues, but we have had, especially here in Nyeri and most of Central Province, there is mention of the government being a subject of historical injustice or being the cause of the historical injustice, the churches. And I think as a government, because this is a land under national government, especially for national government, once the law is put in place, we will see how we can address some of these issues. At the moment, it is still very early to say exactly what we are going to do. But it is good where the land is.
Elsewhere, a Nakuru family is appealing to the government to assist in returning their Saudi Arabia-based daughter to the country. The family says their daughter, Judy Kavenge Wambua, has been suffering in Riyadh, where she has been working as a domestic worker for the last 5 months. The mother, Helen Wakanyi, says her 25-year-old daughter, who left the country in April 17th to seek greener pastures in the Middle East, was being held against her will by her employers. Wakanyi said her daughter ignored her advice not to take up the Middle East job offer, but left after being enticed with promises of a good life by the recruitment agencies.
Analalaga saa 10, anaamuka saa 1. Baadaye ndiye alirudi, mzee akanipigia simu. Kumbe siku hiyo asubuhi alikuwa amempiga saa 1 asubuhi na alikuwa anampiga mangumi na mateke. Sasa hadi saa hizi mtoto wangu hasikii vizuri, hata walikuwa wamempeleka hospitali, analia mbavu, mgongo. Juu aliniambia hata alikuwa anaanguka, anaamshwa, anapigwa sana mangumi na mateke.
And welcome back to KTN News Desk. I'm Michael Karanja. Now, have you ever had a lump sum of money and had no idea what to do with it? Now, well, in studio today, I'm joined by Alfred Mathu, who's the head of retail business at Old Mutual Kenya, just to tell us a bit of the investment cycle in Kenya and where people are actually putting their money. Now, Alfred, if I was just to start off, have we moved off from the traditional investment cycles where people just get money, buy a piece of land somewhere, wait for capital to appreciate, or are they looking for alternative kind of tools to use their money and invest wisely?
Thank you, Michael. This economy has really transformed in terms of the caliber and the focus of the investors. I would say that we have seen a progressive change or shift from the traditional investment options to the current platforms that are able to take care of the present circumstances. Yeah. Many people have changed, others are yet to. What we aim as a company is to ensure that our investors are adequately trained and educated as they go about making their investment decisions.
Right. Obviously, investment is always done on the premise that you're going to get a certain kind of return on the money that you're putting in. But have we gotten to a level where you are comfortable with the kind of money people are putting away in terms of savings for a better future?
Interesting, as a country, I think we've got 2 levels of investors. Yeah. There are people who have maximized. There are people who are doing it exhaustively. Yeah. But there are others who still think that investment is not really critical in their life, and as such they put the minimum amount that they can be able to set aside. I think for us as a company, what we have continued to tell our investors is you should be able to put 20% of your income into an investment so that you can guarantee some future tomorrow.
Right. What kind of vehicles are you giving people? I know of things like unit trusts, like education plans, but what kind of platforms or vehicles are available to people when it comes to investing their money wisely?
We've got both the contractual vehicles and non-contractual vehicles. On looking at the contractual vehicles, we're looking at those avenues through which an investor gets into a contract with the investing company. that is Old Mutual for that matter. The terms are specified. The investment lands for a specific period of time, and you as an investor has an obligation to ensure that you adhere to the set policies of that particular contract. The non-contractual investment options are where investors will invest as and when. When you've got some lump sums, you're able to invest. You've got some little money that you don't need necessarily now.
At the moment,
yes. So those are people that we generally put in the unit trust platform.
Right. Let's just kind of come as we wind up. Tomorrow you're organizing the Great Talks, where I guess in terms of just investment education, you're just bringing along people to get information from people who have invested wisely and have actually built the businesses from investments. What's the whole Great Talks platform for?
I tell you what, as a company, we have found out that there are gaps in the financial planning. We have realized that a lot of people do not know the importance of having clarity of destiny. For me, it is not how much you're putting aside. For me, it is not how well you are going to do it tomorrow. It is the clarity of what you want to achieve and when. And then taking the smaller steps to ensure that there is certainty that you are going to achieve the financial success that you desire. So tomorrow, we're inviting all our clients and even potential clients out there to come and listen to the financial icons that have made it, guys that have got the experience, guys that have got the expertise, so that they can be able to tell the public how they got there. Generally, everyone goes through the many turbulences in life, the many challenges. So when you go through one today, it doesn't mean that you will not make it. These are people that remained firm even with the challenges. And today, we look up to them as people that would actually emulate, want to be like them in the future.
All right, Alfred Matthew, thank you very much. That has been Alfred Matthew from Old Mutual Investments, just telling us of the different investment opportunities that exist for people, and just not to sit on money and just make sure they put it somewhere where it can actually appreciate and give them better returns. And I hand you over back to Iten Referral, who has some interesting news for the upcoming KPL matches this weekend.
Thank you very much, Karanja. Now we go to the Chemelil Sugar could unseat Tusker FC from the third place of the Kenyan Premier League this afternoon. That is, if they win at home to former champions Ulinzi Stars. The Sugar Millers are a point behind Tusker, who play Mathare United tomorrow. Tusker have not been consistent this season, something that has put a huge dent on their title ambitions.
When Francis Kimanzi took over Tusker FC in November last year following the dismissal of Robert Matano, who now coaches Ulinzi Stars, he promised to take back the Kenyan Premier League title to Oraka. The Brewers have had their misses in the current season, but should they tighten their loose ends, they stand a chance of dethroning Gor Mahia.
We were number 5 with 42 points, so this time we're already, chasing number 1 with 42 points. So that means we have won more matches than we did, but we have also dropped a lot of points. When you draw, sometimes psychologically it looks okay, but it's 2 points dropped, so we cannot afford to drop any more points.
Currently, Tusker FC is at position 3 on the KPL log with 42 points out of 25 matches. And this weekend, they take on Mathare United, who are placed 7th with 33 points.
Tusker ni timu zote ni timu kubwa, kwa hivyo wachezaji wanakuja hapa ni wale wachezaji kabisa. Kwa hizo timu ndogo wameonyesha ni wachezaji bora kuliko wenzao, ndio wanapata nafasi ya kuja timu kama Tusker.
After the Mathare United clash, Tusker will have 4 matches against Muhoroni Youth, KRA, Thika United and Sofapaka.
Kila game inaangaliwa tofauti, so tuangalie kwanza ya Jumamosi, alafu tuangalie hizo game zingine vile zinakuja.
City Stars will also play Gor Mahia on Saturday. In other KPL matches on that day, Muhoroni Youth will play KRA as Western Stima takes on KCB. Victor Ogale, KTN Sports.
Well, and that story wraps up our bulletin this afternoon. We do like to hear what is happening around you. You can tweet us, that is at KTN Kenya on Twitter, or on Facebook, that is KTN Kenya. My name is Iten Referral. Do have yourself a lovely afternoon.
This is KTN. Welcome home.